What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, this is Blue Giant Media, and we're here to connect through gaming. Today we've got a Kickstarter preview of Daggers by Jorge Zhang. In this game, for 1 to 4 players, you're going to be a high school student competing to come out on top after the 4 years of high school. You're going to be getting some event cards that kind of adjust your happiness, your stress, your popularity, and then you're going to be using some action point allowance to increase your grades, talk to teachers, make connections, be in charge of different clubs, and all kinds of good stuff. So let's go ahead and set the game up in real time, and then go through a couple rounds of play so you can get a feel of how the game plays. So let's ready, set, play. In Daggers High, you are a high school student trying to basically graduate top of your class, and there's a lot of different ways you can define top of your class, so there's a lot of different ways you can score points. So to set the game up, you'll start by putting the teacher board out there, and then each player is going to take one of these boards, and on one side there's going to be your regular side, and then there's another side that has a special ability. So we're going to go ahead and just use the regular side right now. Each player, so this will be the blue player, will go ahead and dump out these blue pieces. We'll go ahead and get this out of the way. And then this will be the green player. Then we can take the different event cards. They are separated into your years of high school. You've got your freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior years. Right. Then we've got influence cards, essay cards, clubs, and a couple achievement cards. So we'll go ahead and set these over here. And these ones are removed. There's some cards that it tells you to remove in a 2-player game or in a solo game because they're just they're balanced to work with more players. So we'll go ahead and make some space here. We're going to have some clubs available, and then some influence cards may become available later. Each player is going to get 2 essays. You're allowed to look at them. They have different criteria that when you complete them, you get to reveal that essay, and usually when you reveal an essay, it allows you to take a new one. So that's mostly the only way you're going to get new essays, but this one, like for instance, this one says, if you lead at least 2 recreational clubs, you may flip this face up to draw an essay card. So you flip it face up, it'd be worth 1 point, and then you'd be able to get a new essay to begin working on. This one is it says it's a poem. This essay is worth an additional 1 RP, they're resume points, so those are victory points, for every A you have in an English class. If you have at least 3 A's in English classes, you may flip this card face up to draw an essay. So that one's not really going to be able to be finished until your 3rd year, until your junior year. And you'd get 1 point and be able to get a new essay. So each player is going to get 2 of those. They'll be face down, but I'll go ahead and put them face up just so we can all track them. Each individual player is going to go ahead and put their happiness and integrity. I got some extra ones of these here. And it's going to start with 10 points because integrity is also a point. So as you lose integrity through the game, every point of integrity you lose will also have you lose points over here. You cannot get integrity back through the game. So that's one thing to be aware of. Come over here. 1, 2. Also on 10. Each player is also going to put 1 on 0 stress, because you start out without any stress in life. Life is good. Alright, so these cubes are, and everything here is prototype. So I have no clue whether there's going to be the final art, the final design, final bits. I highly doubt that things will be exactly the same. I am sure things will change quite a bit, but right now you have some small, medium, and large cubes, which are worth 1, 3, and 5. They're used for various different things. They're kind of universal markers that can be placed most anywhere. Alright, so then we're going to take these grade markers. Everyone starts off with an F in each of their classes. And based off of how much you study by the end of the year, you may be able to take actions to flip them over to A's. And every time you flip them over to A's, you'll score points. Alright. You'll draw clubs equal to the number of players and set them out. So these clubs do different things, like this one right here. You will have to have at least 3 friends in order to become good at poker, or to be in the poker club. And it's worth -1 point. And it says, an underground gambling club. College admissions offices think you are a delinquent. Your immediate effect is you get to roll a die and gain that much in your math stat, and then at the end of every year you're going to get +2 stress, but also +2 friends. So each of these clubs costs a certain amount of friends, kind of your relational currency, and then they give you an immediate effect and a yearly effect, as well as points at the end of the game. So clubs do that. You're also going to have these, but they will be set aside. I will explain them later. It's kind of like the SATs in this game. Then you will deal out the event cards to each player. These event cards are going to be drafted, so you'll deal 4 to each player. And that one's from the wrong year. So, like most drafting games, you would go ahead and look, choose 1, pass, look, choose 1, pass, but for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and keep 4. So imagine that we did that whole draft back and forth, back and forth. So these cards, as you play them, each one is going to have something that it does and also a number of actions that you get. So the cards determine how many actions you can take on that particular year. So each year consists of 4 quarters. So you've got 4 cards, 4 events that are going to be played throughout the course of that year. So now we are ready to go. For the sake of argument, we'll just go ahead and say that this is the first player. So the first player, on their first turn, they're going to choose one of these cards to play. So this one, all players would gain some stress. This one, all players, or you would lose some happiness. So some of these are not very good. You're going to try and make sure that your opponent gets to draft them. Some of them are really good. This one, you only get 1 action, but 1 class immediately becomes an A because you discover the answer key. So you get to turn one of your cards, one of your grades to an A, but you're going to lose 1 integrity. So let's see, which one of these do I want to do? Because you're going to have to do all of them at some point. I can gain friends equal to the number of players, and so I'll save that one till later. Let's go ahead and use this one. So this one gives you 3 actions. So you're going to go ahead and place 3 markers on there to let you know what you have at your disposal. Then all players are going to get 2 stress. So I've got 2 stress, and it says all players, so my opponent has to do that too. So now each of these cubes, you can do a bunch of different things with them. You can go ahead and put them into study, and each time you put one into study, you're going to get to add to one of your stats. You could go here and chat with a teacher to be able to put to influence on a teacher of your choice. And when you have a certain amount of influence, you can be able to use that teacher's ability, or you can turn in that influence to be able to get a letter of recommendation from that teacher. So that can be useful. You can socialize, which gives you a couple friends, which you'll be able to use to get into those clubs. You could relax to help get rid of stress. And you can do a test correct. So to do a test correct, let's see, like English right here, it is going to take 2 of your English stats. Once you have 2 stats there, because it has a 2 on here, 3 it would be for history. You would be able to flip that over, spend your 2 stats, and then you have an A there. That'll immediately give you 1 point. And also it says that you get to put +3 influence on this teacher, which this one is Yessie, yeah, I'm not sure how you would pronounce it. And that would let you put 3 cubes right onto there. which later it says that you can spend 3 to get +3 to a stat and -2 to a different stat. So overall gain of 1. And those are the different things that you can do. Alright, so let's go ahead and get it set. Let's decide what we want to do. Alright, so I think I'm going to go ahead and socialize twice. So that'll give me 1, 2, 3, 4 friends. And then I'm going to spend 3 of them to get this club membership. And this has a computer in the corner, which means that it is a recreational club, which is what I want to have for my essay right here. So what that lets me do is immediately get 1 history stat, and I'm also going to get 1 extra history stat at the end of each year. So that'll help me do well in history. Alright, so then I have 1 other right here, and let's see, I could... Well, let's go ahead and just get another 1 in... Well, let's just go ahead and say history. Alright, so all of those are going to go away. I still hang on to the friend. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put a new club out there, and this one is a math team. So this one wasn't worth any points, so I didn't gain any points there. That player's turn is done. This player, let's see what they want to do. This has more actions. We're going to go ahead and do Epiphany because it gives us a whole bunch of actions. So it's going to give us 4 actions. But we are going to take 1 stress and lose 2 happiness. So we're working really hard. So over here, I think we're going to go ahead and do some studying. So we'll go ahead and study twice to improve our science. So that lets us flip this over to an A. We spend those 2, and then that will let us put, it says, 3 influence on Professor Physics. It also is going to give us 1 point. And then this player could spend 2 of these to reduce 3 stress. Now we've got a couple more of these. Why don't we go ahead and put both of them also into studying, and we will spend those into math. Alright, now it's going to come over here. This player. Let's go ahead and... Oh, I should have done things differently, shouldn't I have? Well then. Well, you know what, that's going to work okay. So we'll do this one now. We're going to go ahead and flip history to an A. So we will lose 1 integrity, which will make us lose a point, but then this makes us gain 2 points. So a net gain of 1 point, with the integrity going down 1 because we used the answer key. We're going to get 1 action to spend, and when we do that, we get 3 on Professor Terry. Now we can spend, we'll go ahead and do this right away. We'll spend the 3 to draw 3 influence cards and return 2 to the bottom. So we'll go ahead and look at these, and these do various different things. Alright, 1 class becomes an A, draw an essay card, 10 influence in 1 teacher. We'll go ahead and put this one out. Set it to the side there. And put the other 2 to the bottom. So this says that you can spend 5 happiness to get plus 10 influence with any 1 teacher. So that could be pretty useful. I'm going to go ahead and, but you got to be careful because if you have lost too much happiness at the end of the year, you're going to end up taking stress. So you'll get the amount of, you'll gain the amount of stress at the end of the year based off of what kind of tier you are in. If you're in this range, you're going to have to gain 3 stress. If you're in this range, you're going to have to gain 5 stress. And if you're all the way at the bottom, you're going to gain 9 stress. If you get all the way to the end of this stress track, you will gain a detention. So you'll take a cube and you'll put it on here to mark that you got a detention, and you'll go back here. What that means is on a later turn, you can go ahead and pass being able to play a card and just discard a card, which could be useful because sometimes these cards are not very good. Like maybe you didn't want to do this. Maybe you wouldn't have wanted to do something like this and lose an integrity and only get 1 action. Maybe that wasn't worth it to you. So maybe that's the turn that you discard that card and get rid of your detention. And detentions are worth minus points at the end of the game. Alright, so let's see, what do we want to do with this last action? What I want to find out how to get done now, since I already have this grade up to an A, I want to get some influence over here on Miss Yassi so that I can move these essentially somewhere else. So I'm going to put one on study and go ahead and put one on English so that I can work towards that. And that's what this player is going to do. Over here, let's see, the next one, we're just going to go ahead and pass. Oh, that goes over here. So this gets no actions, but you're going to get 8 influence on the teacher of your choice. So we'll go ahead and grab a 5 and a 3, and let's see which teacher we want. We can, that one puts out, that one gets happiness, that one lets you, to get some friends and put out more clubs, which could be cool. Fun stuff, fun stuff. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do that one. And then I want to do this right away. So I'm going to draw a club and take 2 friends. And then I think I'm going to leave that 5 there for now. That's all this player's going to do. Come over here and see, this one sucks. But now's a good time to play this. Alright, so this one says that you get to gain friends equal to the number of players. So you'll gain 2 friends, and then all other players lose 1. So that worked out nicely, since they just got that friend, or those 2 friends, so they lose 1 right away. And then you have 3 actions. Let's see, we want to get another recreational club. So this one right here lets you roll and die and subtract that much stress. Well, we don't have any stress yet, so we might not want to do that just now. But this one right here, it'll cost us a point, but we get to gain some math stats. Alright, so why don't we do that? We'll go ahead and spend these 3 to get this club, and that lets us finish this essay. So we can reveal that one, so -1 from here, +1 from the essay we just did. So we won't move right there. And it says we get to roll a die and gain that much math stat. So we get 4 to our math stat. Not too shabby. I think we're fixing to be able to get some straight A's here. Alright, now for our first actual action. We are going to study to put 1 more into English. Then we are going to, oh, and I did that wrong I'm supposed to spend 1 of my cubes to do a test correct action. So I corrected over here when I should not have. So sorry about that. But we'll go ahead and do this test correct action to flip that over there. And that lets us gain a point and get 3 influence on Miss Yassi, which I'm going to go ahead and spend right away to remove 2 from here and put 3 right here. Then I'm going to do another test correct to fix my math grade, which will give me another point, and put 3 influence on Mr. Matthew, which we can later use to get some more math stats for later classes. So that was a pretty good turn. Alright, now let's come over here. So you and another player are both going to get 2 stress because you got the flu and you spread it to somebody else. And you're going to get 3 actions to spend this round. Okay, well, we're not doing so hot on our grades, so why don't we look and see how we can do on our essays. Lots of clubs. Spend any 3 stats to flip this card face up and draw on essays. That's fairly versatile. That's not too shabby. And okay, well, why don't we get some more, well, some extra Matthew influence would help our math. Why don't we do a test correct in math? That's going to give us 1 point, and put 3 onto Mr. Matthew. And so that'll come in handy later. So that's our first action, and well, let's go ahead and get some more friends. So we're gonna get 4 friends. So we're up to, let's see, 5. Well, that can be pretty useful. Happiness is hard to come by. So I think that we're gonna go ahead and take that, much to, and that player would have liked it as well. But we'll go ahead and do that. Spend the 3. We get to immediately roll a die and get rid of some stress. So we have de-stressed, and we get to increase happiness at the end of each year. So that's good, because happiness is hard to come by. One of the only ways that you can get happiness is through Mr. Novel there. So it's nice to be able to have another way to get it. All right, speaking of happiness, -3. 1, 2, 3. And getting 2 actions. So that's a terrible one. That is definitely one that you would rather serve detention than be in a crappy physics group, in my opinion anyway. But we do actually, oh, these should go away, and these should as well. We're going to go ahead and do a test correction on our science, which is going to move 3 onto Mr. Physics and give us 1 point, plus an additional 2 points because we got perfect grades. So that's 1, 2, 3, and I forgot to give this player their 1 point when they got their, and I forgot to put this out too. Now we have 1 more. Let's see what we want to do with 1 more. Well, we could use some friends. We're going to get some extra friends and stress there. We're going to get a lot of extra stress there. We would like to, if we could get our happiness up, we're not going to lose stress there. So why don't we chat with this teacher, chat with Mr. Novel, which puts 2 here, and then we can spend those 2 to get 1 happiness to get us out of this threshold where we would lose 3 of our, or we would gain 3 stress. And then this player has to play that card, so they are going to gain 2 stress, and they have 3 actions because they're doing homework, which is a little stressful, but they're getting their work done. Now we can also start to look over here. This says it costs you 1 less friend to purchase clubs that are not owned by another player, because you can't actually get clubs. You can buy clubs, take over a club from another player. You have to spend the cost in friends plus 2. So you can do that. This lets you take over clubs at 1 less that aren't owned by another player. And it says at the start of each year, give this card to the player with the most friends. So right now, you're going to get that, or this player is going to get that. So that's nice, and that is also worth 3 points while you have it. Now at this point, we're not going to get good enough grades. We're not going to ace everything. It's not going to happen. So what we might want to do then, let's see. That is interesting. I think we might go ahead and spend 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to take this card. So we spent 5 happiness. We're going to get 10 influence on any 1 teacher. Now, we are allowed to go over here, because if we can get up to 20 on here, we can get a letter of recommendation from Mr. Franklin, which is worth 10 points. And once that's done, then no one can use the influence on him anymore. Or I should say, you can't chat to put influence onto them, but you can still use the abilities. So this is going a long way towards 10 points. So I think it's definitely worth it to go ahead and do that. Alright, because now we can also get happiness back with our club right here. Now what we would like to do is get some extra happiness back from Mr. Novel over there. So we can go chat with him. I think we want to chat with him twice. And that'll put 4 onto here, which we will use both of them right away to gain. I guess no, we only need to do, no, we do need to have 2 so we can get into this threshold. And then we've got 1 more here. Let's see, why don't we just get some more friends? Okay, so now we've reached the end of the first year. So we're going to go ahead and discard the freshman events. We're going to get a new set of grades. So we start the next school year with Fs again. All right, then we get to keep our friends. So these things that happen at the end of the year, they happen in just about any order. So right here, we can go ahead and take the 1, 2, 3, and you get to choose what order. So sometimes I guess it matters, but you can choose the order. So this one, we'll go ahead and take your +3 stress. Then we're going to look over here. We're going to get 1 happiness back, which I guess that does matter because if I was on this threshold, I could have used to get 1 happiness back and then done this. So it does matter, and you do have a say. So we'll do that, and then let's come over here. They're not going to get any extra stress. They're going to get 1 extra history stat, which is nice because now they're pretty close to getting that next one. Then they're going to get +2 stress, but +2 friends. Okay, then student body president comes over here, which gives you 1, 2, 3 points, moves it back to a tie, and now we are ready to go for the next year. So we'll go ahead and hand out 4 more of these and draft them again. So you'll do that for all 4 years. So now I'm just going to skip forward and talk about the fun. So in your junior or senior year, you can take the fun, which is for university needs. It is a test basically like your SAT. So you would spend any 5 stats that you want, spend them, and then you can take the fun. To take the fun, you will roll a die. On a result of 1, 2, or 3, you're going to take one of the ones with a 0. It's worth nothing. If you roll a 4 or a 5, a 4, you'll take this one, which is worth 4 points, and a 5 is this one, which is worth 8 points. So the good news is it doesn't take 5 every time you take the fun. The first one takes 5 stats. If you want to take it again, it's only going to take 1 extra stat to be able to roll again. And if, for instance, you had, so here I would have gotten this one, which is worth 8 points. If I on a later turn had rolled a 2, I don't go, oh, well, dang it, now I have to go back and take this one. No, you can keep the highest one, and you're going to keep the points there. So that would give me 8 points because I rolled a 5 and got this one. And then you're going to go around until you finish all 4 years, and you're going to total up points. And you can go back and retotal your points. So that's something that you can do as well. Everything is trackable as the game goes by, and it can be retotaled again at the end of the game. So I guess the only other thing I didn't specifically say, I mentioned it, but you can go ahead and spend once you have the amount of rec needed. Like here you would spend 10 to get 3 points because you got a letter of recommendation from that professor. So you could spend the rec, mark that, hey, I got that, no one else can get that teacher's letter of recommendation. You would take your 10 points, and then no one can chat with that teacher, as I said. But you can still take the abilities if you get your influence on there from passing your classes or from one of your other abilities. And that should give you a pretty good idea of how to set up and play through Daggers High by Jorge. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and have a wonderful day.